Morning, everybody. I am streaming. All right, while I get a few things set up, like always, I'm going to play a little bit of music here. And I'm going to, the official soundtrack of this channel, Burial Grid, because it's just good atmospheric music, y'all. So if you've never tuned in before, give me just a moment here. I'm going to be setting up, the chat window so I can see it while I work. That just takes a moment. Let's turn off the volume so I'm not hearing me talk. Pop out chat. Hopefully we're not going to get disconnected like I have in the past. But, alright, give that a moment here. Looks like it's loading and taking its bloody time. So today, there we go. Let me put this on the right side of the screen. So today we're working on a portrait of an old friend of mine, and I'm doing an experiment with him. And so if I screw this up, Gabe, I hope you forgive me, because I'll try again tomorrow. One of the things about doing this is it allows me a chance to kind of experiment with stuff. So hopefully I can try something a little bit different today, and we'll see if this works out. Trying to approach this a little more similar to Bill Sienkiewicz, who I don't know if y'all are familiar with, or how familiar you are with his stuff. But we'll give this a shot here. Oh, you know what helps? I actually turned on the Apple Pencil. Yeah, we want to go sideways, don't we? All right. Well, let's see here. I'll play with some of these lines here. Let's get this small. I don't like that line. How about this one? I don't like that line either. I'm back doing what I usually do. Okay. Alright, let's see if I can make this work here. I'm not 100% happy with this particular image. I don't think it quite looks like Gabe. But yeah, this is actor Gabriel Horn. He is, he's an actor in Hollywood and an old friend of mine. We've known each other since we were both in junior high. We used to go to comic book conventions together. In fact, we met Stan Lee and Todd McFarlane together. That was a lot of fun. When we met Stan Lee, he got, we were joking around about this online, he got Ravage 2099 signed by Stan Lee. But I mean, whatever, it was like 1992, 1991, somewhere around there. Seemed like a good idea at the time. I got my Marvel Comics card signed by him. Remember those Marvel Comics Series 1? They had the special Stan Lee card. And when we got his autograph, Gabe walks up to him. He goes first, plops down his book, and he goes, "Hi, Stan, I'm Jewish." And Stan Lee goes, "Well, kid, you can't be half bad." And he goes, "Well, my friend Andy here is." And that's how I met Stan Lee. Not the best introduction I ever had to anybody. What the goal of this piece was is I was trying to get that pen drag look that Bill Sienkiewicz does. But I don't think I can quite do it with the tools I have here. Or at least not easily. Because the rest of the stuff is just brushes. And as Danny Trejo said in From Dusk Till Dawn 3, brushes. We don't need no stinking brushes. You know I'm doing good whenever I'm quoting From Dusk Till Dawn 3. Speaking of Danny Trejo, Gabe just finished filming a scene with Danny Trejo. He got to play an armed henchman, and Danny Trejo got to kill him. So the big reason why I'm doing this is Gabe is doing a little film called Picasso's Christ, which I am very excited to see because it sounds really cool. He got a drawing of Picasso off eBay and wants to authenticate it. And there's a whole bunch of interesting stuff going on about it. Like, is it actually a fake or anything like that? He can only trace it, initially back to a gallery in the 80s, but the gallery was involved with a murder, and so there's questions about its authenticity. And he goes around and he's actually it's not just the it's about more than just the drawing itself. It's about the like the journey of trying to find the answers too. And along the way, he interviews a bunch of people, including Shepard Fairey, which is pretty exciting. Actor Xander Berkeley is in it, who is always a just absolute treat, whatever he's in. If you're not familiar with him, he's Gregory on Walking Dead. Also been in lots of other stuff. zoom out. And, it's not really looking that different. Oh well. See if we can make it work. Said I'm not 100% happy with the pencils on this one. But the other cool thing about Picasso's Christ is I have a line. He asked me to record a line for a voicemail phone call. I guess for some reason he didn't, he didn't have it or didn't save it or whatever, but that's fine. When I messaged Gabe about this, he was like, "Oh, I was just putting your name in the closing credits," and I'm like, "Oh, dude, that's cool." So I'm going to get my first Hollywood credit. I don't think this is working out. I think it's going to be interesting to look at. I think it's going to be good. Get rid of the pencil lines to see. I don't know. I don't think this is going to be any good. Oh, thank you, the Gigarist. And thank you for stopping by. Yeah. I have a big thing about very organic lines, so I try to keep my line work as organic as possible. For those of you listening and not watching the chat, the Gigarist said that he likes, or they said that I like how your lines are not perfect. Which, yeah, trying to keep things organic here. Like I said, this might not be a successful drawing, but it will at least be interesting to look at. But at least I get to go in here and just kind of play around with building up the darks and lights. I miss doing that. I don't go as ham with my cross hatching when I do comic book stuff. I keep it a little looser. You know, not saying that I don't put in details at all. So I do a lots of, you know, line work and whatnot. Oh, wait, I wasn't supposed to do that. I mean, I quite admire really tight inkers like Al Williamson and uh, Kevin Nolan. Oh, I just blinked on Kevin Nolan. He's also like phenomenal penciler. Okay, certainly looks better than the pencils. Not 100% sure if I actually am getting his likeness or not. Well, let's see how this comes out, and we'll go from there. I wonder if you can hear my neighbors upstairs. That's what that banging was, if you're wondering. Part of the reason why I play music when I do this. I'm actually fairly forgiving about their noise because they have a small child. That I don't think had anything to do with their baby. One of these days, I would like to watch my friend's movie Carried Away. It's one of the movies where he's starring in. Actually, it looks pretty good. I watched Ladies of the House, and that was not very good. Gabriel Horn was fantastic, but the movie itself was not. And the acting overall was really good. I just don't think it was a really, well written or directed film. What was that? There's a Texas horror movie that he did about vampires that also looks really good. Okay. Oops. I missed a spot. Oh, yeah, you know what would help if I actually finished drawing my lines? Yeah. Booyah for cha. Let's see here. Part of my morning routine is always to check what's trending on Twitter. Just in case anything interesting is happening. David Bowie's trending. I should be drawing David Bowie today. I've already done 3 portraits of him this year. I'll repost those later. Well, happy birthday, David Bowie. I know Adam, the man behind the music that we're listening to, also a big Bowie fan. In fact, like tracks like this particular one that's playing is very reminiscent of Bowie's album Low, which is his best album. Although, if you're new to Bowie, I would not recommend starting there, because it's a little hard to appreciate Low if you're just new to listening to Bowie. I always tell people start with Hunky Dory, and then kind of go forward from there. Not every album is for everybody, because I am not a big fan of Young Americans. I think that's one of his weakest albums from the 70s. And the funny thing is like Young Americans has some great tracks, like Young Americans, Fame. That cover album he did is also not great, but was it a postcard? No, pinups. But pretty much everything he did in the 70s is definitely worth listening to. You know, from Hunky Dory to um, Scary Monsters. And then after Scary Monsters, you can skip around. I am not a fan of Let's Dance. Mostly, I tend to skip the bulk of his work from the 80s. Uh, though this is not terrible. I was worried that this was going to be terrible. Let's get a look at this without the line. Oh, it was. Get rid of those lines. There we go. Yeah, no, I think I'm pleased with this. Didn't quite achieve the effect I was trying to with the lines in the face, but I think overall worked out pretty well. Oh, thank you, Gingrist. Well, I guess I will wrap this up then. Yeah, on the cheek and the lines, I needed to like define it a little bit better, and I don't really have that in my pencils. And there we go. He had some really great advice in there. I'm gonna do something. I don't typically do my morning warm-ups, but we'll do this anyways here. Get a little highlight. And a little highlight. Oh. Oh, that's much better. There we go. Move that back to black. Yeah. I was doing some work on this graphic novel proposal, and one of the comics I was doing in a very different style, and I kind of learned this, figured out this trick with the highlight in the eyes, and it just really nailed everything once I did that. Um, going just back in with white with it, as opposed to trying to draw it in. Um, but always remember where it is, because then you can keep the pencils and just be like, oh wait, where did I put the highlight? Because I'll sometimes pencil in the highlight. These eyes look kind of creepy. But I think making the pupils a little bit bigger certainly helped. Kind of soften the look. Doesn't look like he's going to kill you. Alright. So here's actor Gabriel Horn. Like I said, his film is coming out that you have if your ears blink, you'll miss me cameo. How's that for a quote about it? If your ears blink, you'll miss me. Yeah. So check that out when that comes out. You should be hearing about it soon. I'll probably be plugging it again as news comes out, but I'll link to the website for the film and check out the trailer. It's really good. I'm like really stoked. Like so stoked. I'm actually using the word stoked. But yes, check that out. And I got to get back to drawing. So till the